Are you looking to buy 3 properties over the next 5 years? This is exactly how you can do it. Buying 3 properties over 5 years is hard, but it is not impossible. We're going to start with the most important pillar of this process, and that's buying your first property. Once you have your first property, things are going to get a lot easier. Now, you're going to speak to a broker or a bank and understand what is possible. You're going to understand your borrowing capacity, the savings you need. You're going to look at things like first homeowners grants, stamp duty savings, and even things like LMI waivers, which will go a long way in helping. Now, it also helps if you have a partner as well. The reality of it is 2 sets of people saving, 2 sets of borrowing capacity, it does make things easier. So once you've seen a broker, you've got pre-approved, you're ready to look at the market and eventually settle on your property by executing your pre-approval. Now, after that, you're going to have a mortgage. That means you're going to have repayments. What you want to be doing here is you want to be making extra repayments or putting money in offset. Any excess funds you have after your repayments will go towards a fund that will help you pay less interest than you need to, but also be there for future use. Another thing that makes sense to do with savings is to make concessionary contributions to your super. What this means is you're putting extra money into your super than your employer puts. This has massive tax savings, and there's some benefits that are coming up later in this video that we're going to go through. Now, once you've had a property for about 2 or 3 years, you've been saving up, you've been working, you've been doing all the right things, you're going to speak to your broker again. Now, at this point in time, you'd like to think your income has gone up, but there's also some amazing things that have likely happened with your home. Now, if you bought your home for about $800,000, it's very likely it would have gone up. Let's say that property is now worth $1 million. The initial home loan you had would have been about $700,000. Because you've been paying it off over a few years, it's now gone down to $630,000. And on top of that, you've been saving and putting money in offset, and you now have $50,000 sitting there in offset. Now your income's gone up, your home loan's working for you, so you're going to get pre-approved to buy another property. The really cool thing is you can actually use the projected rental from the property you're going to buy. So even before you own the property, the banks will factor in the income that property will generate. Now, after getting pre-approved for an investment property, it's all about going on the market to find one. Now, it's really important to understand what your equity does for you. You can use up to 80% of your property's equity without incurring fees, or you can use up to 90% with a fee called LMI. Some people can avoid paying LMI depending on their profession as well. So in the scenario that your property is worth $1 million and your loan is $630,000, you've got $170,000 you can use up to 80% LVR. You've also got $50,000 in offset, which you can add to that as well. Now, if you go to auction, you generally will have to put down a 5 or 10% deposit. Now, the $50,000 you got in offset will come to great use if you go to auction. That means you can actually use the cash on the day to cover the deposit. Although you've got the equity of $170,000, that's hard to tap into instantly. And in an auction, you do need to tap into it instantly for a deposit. Now, after some time, you've found your second property and opened the door to some amazing things. You've now got 2 properties growing equity. You've got rental income coming in, and you can now take advantage of negative gearing on your investment property. So it's been 3 years and we're looking to now get your 3rd property. But things change here big time. All of a sudden, you go to your bank or broker and ask them for your borrowing capacity, and they tell you you're tapped out, meaning you've hit the limit of your borrowing capacity. Your properties don't either have the equity necessary or your income can't allow for another purchase. This is a very common problem for people that are looking to buy an additional property. Now, it's true you could wait a while until your loan goes down, your income goes up, but that wouldn't happen as quickly as possible. So the way we're going to look to buy a 3rd property is through your super. Now, once you have a balance of about $250,000, you can buy a property in your super. Now, for those that don't have $250,000, there are ways to get it. If you and your partner both have super, you can combine it together. There's also this concessionary contributions that we've been talking about. Now, for those that are making the concessionary contributions, your super balance would have been building quicker. Not only your employer super, but the super you've been putting in on top of that. Now, there is another way, and you can make a lump sum payment into your super. If you never use that $50,000 you had an offset for a property, you can transfer that to your super. There's no tax benefit to that, but it can boost your super to the $250,000 needed. So why can you buy a property in your super, but not in your individual name? Now, the best way to think about this is using 2 worlds. Think of yourself, you, your partner as an individual in the properties you have. That's one world. In that world, borrowing capacity is maxed. Now, your super is actually in another world by itself. Borrowing capacity does not play by the same rules. Now, borrowing capacity in your super is independent to borrowing capacity that you currently have as an individual, meaning that it's very likely that as an individual, you can't exceed what you have, but under your super, you can. Now, after speaking to your broker, you've got pre-approved, you speak to an accountant who creates a bare trust, which is the entity within your super that buys the property. At this point, you now have 3 properties. Now, it goes without saying that you can continue to add to your property portfolio, but your first 3 properties are actually quite realistic. Now, after you've got these 3 properties, it can get really difficult to add further to them. Your income doesn't always increase at the level that you would like in order to service this. Over time, doors may open, but within 5 years, it is really possible to get 3 properties. Now, along this journey, you've had to be disciplined, you've had to follow a plan, and of course, there's a little bit of luck, but it is absolutely possible. So that's it, guys. This is how you can buy 3 properties in 5 years. Now, if you'd like me to make a video on how people are buying 20 or 30 properties over 5 to 10 years, I can absolutely go through that. And I promise you, it's actually not as complicated as you might think. So like, comment, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you next time.